I'm Josie Marin, and I play Mia in Need for Speed Most Wanted. Make sure you do all your racing in the game. On the streets, drive safely and responsibly, and wear your seatbelt.
Need for Speed is a franchise that needs no introduction. An arcade racing game that's been around for over 30 years, starting with the original on PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and DOS. Yes, this game is old. It's a game that really revolutionized the arcade racing genre, bringing an experience that used to be reserved for arcades over to home consoles. Over the decades, we got a steady stream of Need for Speed games. All of them prioritized the fun and excitement of just mashing that gas pedal down to the floor, drifting and turning through tight corners at speeds that really shouldn't even be physically possible. Realism is clearly not a word that's in the vocabulary of these devs, but that's really what makes these games so much fun. There's no need to worry about taking the perfect racing line, when to brake, or how fast to take a turn. These games just put the absolute thrill of driving these machines front and center. While recent Need for Speed games have been alright, they've been completely overshadowed by the Forza series in my opinion. With better graphics, customization, and car handling, Forza Horizon just perfects the open world in my opinion. Maybe it's the nostalgia talking, but I really do think that Need for Speed was in its prime during the mid-2000s. Games like Pro Street, Carbon, Undercover, Underground 1 and 2, and the game that I'll be talking about today, Need for Speed Most Wanted. This game came out hot on the heels of Underground 2, which dropped just a year earlier in 2004. It's clear that EA was on a generational run in the mid-2000s. Critics and fans alike loved Most Wanted when it first launched. The graphics were ahead of its time, vehicle customization was deep, and it even had a full narrative with real-time cutscenes.
First I'm gonna take your ride, then I'm gonna take your girl. Get ready for...
Which, for a racing game back then, was unheard of. And with 16 million copies sold, it goes to show just how big of a hit that EA had on their hands. Just to put that in perspective, the entire Forza franchise has sold around the same amount. Now, I might be showing my age here, but it's been 19 years since I last played this game as a kid, so I just wanted to go back and experience it again. Not just for the nostalgia trip, but to see how well it holds up against its newer counterparts. The racing genre in general has felt pretty stagnant lately. Declining sales, less innovation, and honestly, the most unique racing games tend to be the older ones. Need for Speed, the old Burnout games, F-Zero, you get the idea. The prologue to Most Wanted has us racing Razor and his cronies in the most iconic car in any racing game ever, the BMW M3 GTR. This car is legendary. It's perfect, but unfortunately it's not. Razor sabotages your ride, causing you to lose your race with him. He takes your car, but unfortunately for him, not your girl, who conveniently pays your bail, gives you a new car, and sets you up with a safe house to take down each blacklist racer one by one. And we, as a unnamed player character with no voice, just kind of roll with it, I guess. I'm sure she's doing it all out of the goodness of her heart. Right?
I want to show you something. I hooked you up with access to the police database. You've been building a rap sheet with
I
the
wonder
cops.
how she got that. And yeah, that's the setup. Win enough races, rack up a high bounty by evading the cops, and complete milestones to gain the attention of each blacklist racer. You can then challenge them to a head-to-head race. Beat them in 2 races, then choose 2 out of 6 rewards. One of them might even be the pink slip to their car. I can't even tell you how many times I restarted my GameCube just because I wanted that sweet, sweet pink slip. You do this about 15 times, climbing up the blacklist until you get to Razor, who's now been driving the car that he stole from you to get to the top of the blacklist. That the structure is pretty repetitive, but that's kind of the point. It is a racing game. It's not trying to reinvent the engine. The races do break down into a few different types though. There's the basic lap-based circuits and point-to-point sprints, drag races where you time your shifts and dodge traffic, lap knockouts where the racer in last gets eliminated each lap, toll booth races where each toll booth you pass adds more time to the clock, and my absolute favorite, the speed trap. You race through multiple speed cameras trying to get the highest average speed. It's a really cool concept that I haven't really seen in many other racing games. One that prioritizes pure speed and skill over finishing first. I've had so many moments where I had to decide between slowing down right before the speed camera or just sending it straight into a wall, and honestly, I always chose the latter. Most of the races outside of the blacklist battles are a bit too easy, to be honest. Even with the rubber banding, I'd find myself way ahead of the pack. It got kind of lonely, I'm not gonna lie.
I am a victim of my own success.
One thing this game absolutely nailed though was the police chases. If a patrol car catches you speeding or driving recklessly, it'll trigger a pursuit. And the more you evade, the higher your heat level gets. Each level adds tougher police units, SUVs that can ram you head on, helicopters, spike traps, roadblocks, the whole 9 yards just to get your ass. What's cool is that heat levels apply to individual cars. So if one gets too hot, you can swap to a cooler one and lay low for a while. It gives you a good reason to own and upgrade multiple cars. Speaking of upgrades, this is one of the earliest games I can remember with such a robust customization system. Body kits, spoilers, decals, rims, vinyls, colors, plus a bunch of performance parts for your engine, transmission, suspension, tires, brakes, and turbo. All of it unlocking as you progress through the blacklist in a very natural and satisfying way. It gave you that sense of momentum and freedom to build out your garage however you wanted. This game really was ahead of its time. An open world that felt alive, races that, while easy, were still exhilarating, customization that a lot of modern racing games still can't match. It's a relic of a much simpler time, back when EA was actually pumping out bangers instead of half-baked cash grabs. If they ever made a faithful remake or even a solid remaster of this game, I guarantee it would sell out like hotcakes. But that's just me, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Till next time, see ya.